Elon Musk has said he's going to get Ron Paul to audit the Federal Reserve. The former Texas Republican libertarian leading congressman basically made a whole career out of criticizing the Federal Reserve, saying it was time to audit it. Guys, the Federal Reserve, let me break this down to you. The Federal Reserve, Thomas Jefferson, one of the things he warned against. It's crazy how, let's like before we get into this, let's think about like great presidents and things they've warned us against that we went ahead and did anyway. George Washington said, do not establish political parties. People will become too partisan, they'll become too tribalistic, and they won't think for themselves. What did we do almost immediately after he said that? Establish political parties. Thomas Jefferson said, do not establish a national central bank. Don't do it. That bank will have control over the country. They'll be the ones who actually run the show from behind the scenes. What did we do? We established the Federal Reserve. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, be careful. There's this thing called the military-industrial complex. It's going to hijack the country and lie us into a bunch of wars. What did we say? Oh, you're crazy, Dwight. And then the military-industrial complex lied us into a bunch of wars. Got tens of thousands of Americans unnecessarily killed. We have a pattern of ignoring great presidents when they tell us things. So the Federal Reserve is essentially a private bank that answers to absolutely no one. They have an independent committee. Trump can recommend these people step down, or whoever the president is can recommend these people step down, but they don't have to. And the thing is, these are the ones that decide how much money they're going to print. They decide what the mortgage rates are going to be. So they can decide to wreck the economy if they don't like who the president is at any given moment. They can decide that you can go get a mortgage for next to nothing, or they can decide that it's going to be really, really difficult. They can decide they're going to print a bunch of money and drive the prices of everything up, or they can decide to put a pause on it or at least slow it down. They have the most power in this country. They basically, I mean, the decisions they make affect everything. They affect the housing market. They affect the prices of day-to-day items we get. They affect the stock market and your retirement accounts. Everything boils economically in this country boils down to what the Federal Reserve does, and they are an entirely independent bank that answers to nobody. And they have never once been audited. Isn't that crazy that we elect our leaders and it turns out that a bunch of just goons in suits run the country? And Ron Paul's made a career out of criticizing these people, saying it's time for an audit. Well, guess what? We might actually get that now. Now, Mia, take a guess. There's been one other president in American history who wanted to audit the Federal Reserve. Take a guess who it was.
Nixon?
No, close.
JFK.
JFK, and we all know what happened to him. We all know what happened to him. Folks who have a history of crossing the Federal Reserve, doesn't always turn out well for them. Ron Paul's never been taken seriously up until now. Ron Paul was always a congressman with almost like a cult-like following, a libertarian leading conservatives like myself, people who really looked up to him. He ran for president in 2008 and 2012, did decent in the Republican primary. He was never a formidable candidate to win, though. But Ron Paul was never taken seriously until now. The same way that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, even Donald Trump, were never taken seriously until now. And it's as I keep saying, the game has changed. Donald Trump has found a way to take three people, Ron Paul, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard, that have no one in a million years would have allowed anywhere near the White House because they were such a threat to the power structure, and harpoon Trojan horse all three of them into various aspects into various roles in the White House. So if Ron Paul's going to be involved in the audit of the Federal Reserve, you better bet your ass that we're going to get some answers to some of our questions. The game has changed. The power is being transitioned back to the people. Not all of it. We're still going to have to deal with some of our bullshit, but the power is finally being handed back to us. And it's, guys, I'm warning you. Someone told me the other day that when you convert to Christianity, you're going to start to see a lot of attacks from the devil. In your daily life. This is the same thing. These guys aren't going down without a fight. You are going to see a lot of attacks. You're going to see a lot of accusations lobbed. We know how they fight. They fight dirty. This is not just going to be us cruising to victory. and finally restoring some power to a representative democracy in this country the way it was intended to be. This is going to be one hell of a fight for the next 2 to 4 years, and it's only just beginning. They're not going to roll over. We have to remain vigilant, and we have to keep the pressure up.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.